One of the really neat features of MobileNation in an enterprise sense is its ability to integrate with your organization's existing IT infrastructure. To give you a 5-minute example, let's create a hypothetical situation and pretend I'm involved in a pharmaceuticals reseller based in Melbourne that has travelling sales representatives, each who go around visiting doctor surgeries, giving away samples of their new antidepressant, we call it Phanatol. So in the past, these reps may have used a street directory, maybe a list of surgeries on a piece of paper, and a keyboard to keep track of the number of samples requested by a given surgery. At the end of the day, they would have passed in an order form to their mailroom, who would have then processed these requests by hands. So let's streamline this and make it mobile, so that drug representatives can request samples for a surgery on the go, and HQ can know instantly where to send it, such that delivery time is significantly reduced. Now, our pharmaceutical company isn't completely stuck in the dark ages. They've got an existing desktop product that tracks their orders, which has a Microsoft SQL Server database backing it up. So if I fire up my SQL browser here, you can see that they've got a couple of tables. One of them is requests, where you can see the requests that have gone through. Another one with their various products, so you can see Sustainer, Aspirin, and Phanatol. And lastly, a list of practices, organised obviously by practice name and practice address. So without further ado, let's get this live data into MobileNation. So if we fire up our data repository, add a data source from an enterprise database. Okay, MS SQL, connecting to DrugTown, and I'll just put in the internal server details. Okay, and we can see that we're given a list of tables that we'd like to import. Now I'm going to import practices, products, request, and the live stream of request, which you can see there. Okay, so I'll bring that in, and voila, there's the data right there at our fingertips. So to start off, I thought that we might make two views in the application. So I've got a surgeries view where I'm going to show a map that shows where all the surgeries are, and that I can drill down to get more information on the surgery and potentially order new stock for it, and a request view, which basically just shows a live feed of the requests for stock that I'm putting in. So if I go to my surgeries view and I add in a map view, that's pretty straightforward. Obviously want to link this into Melbourne because that's where we're at. Beautiful. And now I want to show some place markers of the surgeries that I've just got in my database. So I've got my practices list. Okay, we've got practice name. Simply drag that one on. There's some of my place markers. Beautiful. Okay, and I'll go to my requests view, and I'll add a table view because we're just going to show the live feed of requests. So make that table view occupy the full screen, and we'll get our live stream of requests. You can see that someone's ordered 10,100 Phanatols at the Western Medical Centre. There you go. Yep. Alright, so let's preview that and see what it does, shall we? Okay, so you saw in your preview that you could see a list of surgeries. Now, what would we do if we wanted to select a placeholder and perhaps get a little bit more detail about the practice? Well, let's do that now. I'm going to add a new view. Now, adding a new view is just like adding a slide in PowerPoint. So I'm just going to call this one surgery detail. And maybe add a navigation bar and a back button so that I can navigate back through it. And I'll call this one okay, and obviously that's going to be on the same tab as surgeries because we're going to navigate to it. Alright, now let's put a couple of labels on there. I'll put this one there on there, make that fairly big, maybe make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to say surgery name. And this is going to be a placeholder for the actual surgery name. Might make that bold as well. Okay, add another label. And we'll call that one surgery address. Okay, so going back to our surgeries view, you can see this map. Now, everything in MobileNation's got actions, as you saw in the simple demo. So when I touch down on a placeholder, I obviously want to load in the surgery detail view. So I'll just drag over to that, load the view, and maybe make it slide left. At the same time, I want to update those placeholder labels that you saw here. So this one and that one. So what I'm going to do is go back to my map view and update surgery names text with our map view selected item practice name. Beautiful. And I'll do the same thing with address. Set the text to our practice address. Beautiful. So now when I touch one of these, it'll load up my surgery detail view, and I'll find out a few more details about the surgery. Now really what I want to do as a rep is to be able to order my surgeries, some new items. So to do that, I'm going to put in a text field, and I think I'm just going to prescribe Funatol for the sake of this demo. And maybe we'll give it a text of 10 items and make a label to match up with that. Funatol 500 milligrams quantity. Okay, we'll let the user actually enter their own details in for that. Next off, I'm going to add a button, and this is kind of like a submit button for a form, I guess. So I'm going to say request samples. Now obviously when we click on this request samples button, I obviously want to place an order which goes back to HQ. In order to do that, I need to actually make a request in my drug request table. So what I'll do, if you saw before, are requests, that's those there. And so what I'm going to do is simply drag a data accessor in, hook it up to my requests data source, and rig it up so that when I push that button, we insert some data into the data accessor. So there you go, there's the columns matching up. Okay, so our practice ID, we can get that from our practice ID from our map view. We rig that one in. Now, if we look at our data source, we're looking at products and Funatol's 3, so we can just leave that one static. And our quantity we can get from our text area, text. So if I just go back to that one, quantity comes from our text area text. Let's drag that one across. Beautiful. Okay, so when that's done, we obviously want to show the requests that we've got on the live view. So secondary to that touchdown view, we'll fire up our requests tab. This time we'll make it flip. Okay, so we'll publish that, and hopefully we'll have a fully functioning app that will enable drug reps to enter information into their database as well.